Okay, but that doesn't give the correction officers the right to violate the law.
No, it doesn't.
Let me move on because I have a lot to get to, including a very controversial quote from you.
Go ahead.
But I'm quoting Daniel Sealing now. This is what he had to say, and he was the director of the jail's mental health services. Let's take a look at this.
He was the director?
Yes, but let's take a look at what he had to say, if we can go ahead and put that up. There's lots of brutality, horrible brutality. Now, how do you explain that, Mr. Seabrook?
I think that this person just has an axe to grind.
Really?
Absolutely, Dominic.
Why would he have an axe to grind against correction officers?
Because you said he used to be.
Right.
Okay, and at the end of the day, we don't allow them, mental health or anybody else that comes into the confines of a jail, to do what it is that they want to do. Dominic, we are always going to be looked upon as the bad guy. You know why we're looked upon as the bad guy, Dominic? Because
inmates are popping up with broken bones in their face.
Dominic, did you see this? Hold on a second. Don't tell me about inmates popping up.
Yeah, that's very graphic.
So why don't we go home? Why don't we go home and tell that child?
As a matter of fact, it turns my stomach.
Why don't we go home and tell that child that her father could never hold her anymore with 10 fingers? She only got 9.5.
But is that an excuse?
No, it's not an excuse. But at the end of the day, I'm telling you, like I'm telling the world and everybody else watching, we will use whatever force is necessary to terminate this threat. And at the end of the day, that's what this is. We're not dealing with you or the regular public. We're dealing with individuals that have nothing on their mind but to kill another individual. And at the end of the day, I am not going to a correctional officer's funeral because some individual believes that that's how they become a saint or go wherever it is that they're going. They could go to hell for all I care. You are not going to destroy the lives of correctional officers by injuring them, and I will not tolerate it.
Okay, let's talk about Mr. Jose Batista. He was arrested on a misdemeanor charge.
And the judge should have never put him in there, but go ahead.
Okay, following a family dispute last year. He was unable to post $250 bail and ended up in a cell on Rikers.
Okay.
This unfortunate man attempted to hang himself.
Okay.
4 officers responded, and he was handcuffed.
Okay.
I want you to listen to this narration now from a New York Times reporter and look at the video yourself for what actually happened to this man next.
After about a minute of lying face down on the floor, he suddenly jumped up. In an interview, Mr. Batista said he couldn't explain why, except that he was confused and depressed at the time. But this is the moment when the 4 officers began dragging around a suicidal man and wrestling with him. Investigators from 4 city agencies concluded that one of the officers punched Mr. Batista so severely he suffered a perforated bowel and needed emergency surgery to save his life. The Department of Corrections investigated the incident and punished only one person, Mr. Batista, for resisting staff. He is now suing the city.
Officers violated protocol. Protocol says they're supposed to call mental services.
Hold on. No. There is no call mental services. Did you see the video? Now, I just watched the same video you did.
Okay.
I saw the guy get up off of the floor.
Right.
I saw the guy rush towards the officer's legs area. If you didn't see that, then play the video again, because that's exactly what the guy did. Now, when he rushed towards the correction officer, what is the correction officer supposed to do? Defend himself.
The man is handcuffed.
No. That man was not handcuffed when he came up just now. Play the video again. That man was not handcuffed when he came up just now. Okay, and at the end of the day, he rushed towards the correction officer, grabbing the correction officer around the lower part of the body. The correction officer has a right to defend himself. And after
by almost killing the man with a punch?
Hold on a second. So, Dominic, so what you're saying to me is that if I throw a punch at you, am I supposed to think whether or not this is strong enough because I fight better than you? Hold on a second.
Because that can determine whether
Dominic,
or not.
You're wrong,
okay,
let me ask you this.
Mr. Seabrook,
battle that you're defending yourself,
okay, Mr. Seabrook,
you think that this correction officer is going to stand back and say, wait a minute, I need to do this?
What's bus therapy?
Bus therapy doesn't exist.
Really?
Bus therapy doesn't exist.
So now I'm going to tell the audience what bus therapy is.
What you're going to tell them what people said, what one individual said it was.
Okay. Well, then,
one individual with a mental problem said it was. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, the records don't lie.
Well, go ahead. The records shouldn't lie.
If he left Rikers, Mr. Batista, at 5:45 p.m., escorted by officers to go to Elmhurst Hospital, which is only a 15-minute drive away, why didn't he officially arrive until 2:47 a.m. the next day?
I have no answer for that, Dominic. And you know why I don't have an answer for it? Because I didn't get an opportunity to look at the logbook as the time that the Transportation Division took this individual from one place to another place, because there is a record of it. I don't want to go by what the New York Times says or what Joe Q Public thinks, because until you walk in the shoes of a New York City correction officer, don't judge me. Because at the end of the day, I'm keeping you safe at night. Yeah, if we let those 11,000 inmates go right now, New York would be under siege. I think that what needs to be asked here are real tough questions. What's the mayor doing about the problem of mental health in the city of New York? What's the commissioner doing about the problem?
But it sounds like you're okay with the violence that your officers are using.
I'm okay with using whatever force is necessary to terminate an incident. And those who disagree with me with that, they must first understand what we go through. I'm not suggesting that correction officers use force. Now, you're saying to me that we have 11,000 inmates in the city or 14,000 inmates in the city's jail system, and you're showing me 3. You're showing me isolated cases of something that
men that almost died.
You're showing
that
me,
were handcuffed.
Oh, come on, Dominic. Now, you really don't even believe that yourself, because I've known you a long time. And one thing I do know about you is I know that you tell the truth. And I know in telling the truth, you have to say to yourself, what caused this? You think that correctional officers got up and decided to go into a guy's cell and decide to start fighting? No, that doesn't happen, Dominic.
At the
end of the day, the men and women do their job, and there are those who are going to criticize us, but I welcome the criticism.
We've gone over our time allotment, but you're in some criticism as well, Mr. Seabrook.
When am I not?
But I can't believe this quote. I'm going to give it to you now. Apparently, you were touring Rikers with the city's health commissioner, and I believe the correction commissioner.
Joe Pont, who I think is a good man right now. I think he's doing a hell of a job.
Oh, you like him now? Okay.
I think he's doing a hell of a job. He's proven to be a real stand-up correction officer.
Well, you asked Dr. Bassett, the health commissioner, how would she feel if your officers suddenly disappeared from the cell block, leaving her alone with 100 vicious inmates, and then you answered your own question in which you said, quote, "You'll be soiling your pants," and your words were apparently more graphic, and then you went on to say, "This jail belongs to us," yelling, "It does not belong to the Department of Mental Health."
Well, listen, let me say to you, I didn't use the word soil. Okay,
right, it was much worse.
It's not that much worse. It's a four-lettered word. Okay, and I have no problems, and I wish I could say it now, because that's what would happen. You have individuals that come in and want to tell us how to maintain care, custody, and control, and safety and security of the world's city's largest jail system, the city's largest.
You don't regret saying that to the health commissioner?
I do not regret saying that whatsoever. Simply because at the end of the day, she has no idea what we do. She has no idea how much we have to deal with 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. She has no idea what our job consists of. And if she was a real mental health commissioner, she would certainly find other places and alternatives to incarceration as to putting these individuals in jail. You would at least tell me what the person is there for, and I would know better how to deal with them. Correctional officers have to learn how to deal with the mentally ill, but until we're trained to do so, we can't do it, Dominic. So in other words, you could see a person standing right in front of you, and you don't know whether or not this person is going to snap any second. Now, if they were smart enough, they would say to us, look, these people have a problem, and you need to deal with them a certain way, and give us the training and the staffing that we need to deal with that, but they don't do that. So yes, I said to her, if I left you standing here right now, you would blank in your pants. And I'm absolutely sure that she and everybody else that sits back and Monday morning quarterback correction officers would do the same thing. Until people know what it is to have urine and feces shaken up like a milkshake and thrown in your mouth with blood mixed in it and it goes in your mouth, until people get bit by individuals that are HIV positive and have to go to the hospital to have cocktails taken so that they don't contract different diseases, until people know what it's like to deal with tuberculosis, hepatitis, and all the other infectious diseases that we deal with. Don't tell us about this. Look, I'm not making excuses. I'm telling you the facts. The fact of the matter is we have a very, very tough job. I make no excuses for correction officers that promote prison
I've got to wrap this up, Mr. Seabrook.
I make no excuses
but your officers are breaking federal law.
No, we are not breaking.
You are breaking federal law.
At the end of the day, they will have their day in court, because that is not a fact. And then when all the facts come out, they will see it for what it is. And I think that the city of New York York, the mayor needs to do what it is he's supposed to do, and the correction commissioner needs to do what it is he is supposed to do, and the Department of Mental Health needs to do what it is that she is supposed to do. But I will not allow anybody to tarnish the badge of a New York City correction officer for some inmate that's accused of raping, murdering, or killing a child, and all of a sudden he's the victim. Not on my watch, my friend.
Okay. Well, Norman Seabrook, president of the Correction Officers Union of New York City, we thank you for this very spirited conversation and those very graphic photos there.
It's
Richard,
real.
I understand that, but we're out of time. So, Richard, let's go back to you now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dominic. A lot to digest. We will discuss what we just heard as we bring our panel in straight ahead.